Well, hey Jen, how are you? Are you back in here on stage? Maybe Jen's not back yet. It is 11:57 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. How's everybody doing in the room? Type in hello or a good morning or a shout out to wherever you're from. We'd love to know what states or cities are represented, what markets, and make sure that your mic is turned off. And love to know where you're from. All over the place. We've got California, Michigan. Somebody is typing and making noise on their computer when they type, so make sure that your mic is turned off. Over there on the left-hand side, just make sure your mic is turned off. One thing that we love here in EXP World is a few house rules just to keep things flowing for our conversation today. And I feel and see the backs of heads of my guests behind me. I think this is awesome. I'm around. Brian's here. Elizabeth's here. Awesome. We're just waiting on Tiffany, and here she comes. Look at that. Wow. Everybody is here. Looks like everybody's dialed in. Looks like everybody's, no one's hiding behind a podium, so we should all stand over this way somewhere. Maybe they should let us just sit on these new stairs. What do you guys think of all this new decor?
The thing that scared Cameron into thinking, oh, we should postpone, is that I have a doctor's appointment on Tuesday from 10 a.m.
Deborah Stevens.
I can
Deborah
talk to you.
Stevens. Deborah Stevens. Your mic is open. There we go. Excellent. I don't know how to mute people, so I'm going to leave it at that. Well, I don't know if Jen is coming back to introduce us. I know she has control of the stage. She may not be back in time for being at the top of the hour. According to my clock, we're not that much left here. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon on the East Coast officially in about 30 seconds or less. Welcome to ICONversations. We are super excited to have you here. Super excited to have all of you in the new and improved and redecorated auditorium. It is looking super fancy up in here. What? It is awesome. Great job, Alex and the team at Verbella, for giving us a whole new space to feel and be in and interact in and enter and exit from different levels. This is super fancy. If you haven't noticed, if you come in from the normal auditorium doors or launch yourself in here, you'll start at the top level and you'll have multiple levels to layer yourself down, and it'll tells us a lot about who you are to either sit in the front row or the back row or somewhere in between. So welcome to ICONversations. I am your moderator and host, Keith Bliss from Cary, Raleigh, North Carolina, and I hope I met a number of you at shareholders meeting just a couple of weeks ago already. Hard to believe so much time has passed. We covered a lot of ground, learned a lot of great new things about the company, learned a lot as ICON agents. We had a couple of VIP events that we were privileged to be invited to and included in, which was wonderful for all of us. And I just wanted to say good morning to Brian, Tiffany, and Elizabeth. Hello.
Hello, hello. It's good to be here.
Good morning, everybody.
Brian, are you here too?
I am here. Thanks.
Awesome. Well, here's a couple different things. I might make sure that not one of us is hiding behind a podium, so to speak, physically. So if either everyone wants to come over this way or I can join on this side of the podium, that podium is just kind of in our way, if so to speak. I don't know how to flush it away. But if we are all up, just a little bit further up, that'd be great. And what I also would love to do is ask the three of you how you would like this conversation to go. After all, it's your conversation. I'm merely the moderator. And I'd like to make sure that you have opportunity to introduce yourself, tell us what market you work in, generate referrals and connection to people in the room, 123 users and counting, and also want to understand or find out how you would like this conversation to go. Meaning, do I create conversation topics for y'all to have with each other, or would you rather it where you all have a mic at the same time, so to speak, or more of a question and answer format with the mic being passed from person to person? All up to you. I find that we're here to learn from each other, and all the people in the audience get to witness it at the same time, so we can have conversations in any format. But I want to make sure that you guys have a say, and not only have a say, but you influence what kind of topics we cover. So why don't I just start, go from Brian to Tiffany to Elizabeth, based on the way that the our big screen behind us here has us. And why don't you start us off, Brian? Introduce yourself and tell us where you're from, etc.
My name is Brian Ernst. I live in Aurora, Illinois, etc. No, I've been in real estate for 16 years. I've been with EXP now for a year and a half. And it's just been a fantastic experience, a fantastic ride. And I'm looking forward to, well, the next few months and years and decades of this fun stuff.
Hey everybody, I'm Tiffany Gelzinis. I'm in Virginia Beach, Virginia, also covering Norfolk and Chesapeake, basically the coast of Virginia here. And I've been in real estate for 4 years and with EXP for 2 years.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Elizabeth Riley. I'm out of Austin, Texas. I have been in real estate for 14 years. I've been with EXP a little bit over 4 years.
Awesome. And it's interesting. I'm not sure if any of you follow any talk show hosts or anything like that, but it was really interesting. This week, Tom Hanks was under scrutiny for breaking out all of his lists of things that he could and could not talk about Toy Story 4 during his interview with Jimmy Fallon. Did anyone catch that? I bring that up specifically because sure, we have lead-ins and cheat sheets and we could prep each other, but we really want to be unscripted and really talk about current issues and current questions that even the audience might have. So at any given time, use the chat bar, throw out some questions. We may not get to them, but we'd love to know from the audience what questions you may have, either specifically for one of our ICON agents up here, specifically about something that they might have said, and we could either sidebar, table it, or bring it up. But at any given point, let's have an open chat going on at the same time. I thoroughly believe in collaboration while we're up here. And so speaking of which, we all had an opportunity to be at shareholders. And why don't I just start with a question? What were what was your biggest aha from this last EXP shareholders meeting? Elizabeth?
That we're not a small company anymore. It was amazing to me to see how many people were there and just to see the recognition our company is receiving. And the fact that we're going into the UK and Australia, and those are just two of the first, it's pretty exciting, and it was just eye-opening for me. Especially since my very first shareholders, I think there were less than 100 people in the room. So it's we've come a long way since I joined a company that had 400 agents.
That is absolutely incredible. What about y'all, Tiffany, Brian?
So for me, I think, the same, and I've only been this was my second shareholders, but still the just explosive growth that we've had over the last year has been impressive. But what's more impressive to me is that we still have such a family feel that we still give back to each other and are willing to talk to each other. I had some amazing conversations at this year's shareholder meeting, and that is just my biggest takeaway, including with you, Keith. But my biggest takeaway, my aha, is that we're just so willing to give to each other and just help each other out and collaborate.
I'm constantly amazed at each event that EXP puts on and how much it grows, how many people show up to it, and I think most importantly for me is how many more new opportunities keep coming up that I could never have imagined. Talking about the UK and Australia, I mean, one of the reasons I never traveled internationally is because I've been in my real estate business, cell phone coverage in different areas because I've been in charge of my business. So I'm just looking for a reason to go to the UK, looking for a reason to go to Australia. And I talked to Adam and Stephen about that at the shareholders meeting. Just give me a reason. Doesn't have to be a good one. It's just the opportunity is just so awesome, and I'm excited about that.
It's a super exciting time. So I don't see. I'm not sure what's going on here with my chat bar. Let me open it up a little bit. There we go. Okay, great. So when it comes to today's market, right? I mean, is anybody in a down market? First of all,
No,
I'm not.
Parts of my area are.
got it. So we have no and no. So Austin and Virginia Beach are a strong no. And then Brian, what area do you cover in Aurora?
So I'm in Aurora, Illinois. It's the western suburbs of Chicago. There are some areas that are really struggling, but there are some areas that are doing just fine. Kind of got both depending on specific location of the property. And unfortunately in Illinois, we have a lot of people leaving the state. So turning my sellers into buyers is a real challenge because most of the time they have already bought a place either out of state or have a place already. 60% of sellers in the past 2 years have left the state, according to the Chicago Tribune.
Got it. Yeah. So it's interesting when there's a market where we're not all in an up market, we're not all in a down market. When you have both in the same area that you cover, it is truly unique. But we're starting to see pocket markets where there's signs of struggle or fatigue, whatever you want to call it, and then also areas where it's been so inflated for so long that the perception of what a slow market might look like may never be as slow as it has been in the past. Now, for Tiffany being in the business for the last 4 years, lucky you. But at the same time, as markets shift, it should be interesting. Anyway, we've got a number of different questions we could ask. And what I'd like to do is start with, what are you doing differently in June of 2019 than what you were doing in June of 2018? What does that look like for you? What are you doing differently from last year at this time? And let's have a conversation. I don't have to run down the mic. Whoever decides to pop up, go ahead and.
I'm happy to talk first. Oh, Elizabeth, were you going to? Sorry.
I'll go after you. Go for it.
Okay. What's different for me in my business is just how, and this has been a decision of mine, but last year at this time, I was struggling to find my first team agent. I was struggling to find my first buyer's agent and just working through that. And this year, I am focused on getting 7 agents in production and successful. So it's just a very different challenge, and we always have different challenges to go forward with. But going from, looking for the first one to now working with 7.
Wow, that's explosive growth right there.
It's been pretty big, and part of that is because of EXP. It's a lot easier to bring agents into this model because there's just so much opportunity.
So you've had success in bringing agents onto your team because of the platform EXP provides you.
I think that's a part of it, yes.
Got it. And what's been your primary source for bringing team members on?
So we were actually talking about this yesterday. The primary source has actually been agent referrals from other agents on my team. So the hardest thing was to find agent 1 and agent 2. And then from there, agents 1 and agents 2 referred agent 3 and 4. And then, it's grown organically within itself because of the agents that are on my team.
That's awesome. So what are you, and so that's your new challenge. What are you doing differently this year, Elizabeth?
So a little of the same, but different than Tiffany. So I'm an individual agent and I don't really have a team, but I am using EXP and the relationships and the agents that we have here locally as leverage. So, usually during the summer, I have 4 kids, and when they're out of school, I mean, each day is completely crazy. Last year, I'm running around crazy trying to make everything work. This year, I'm investing a little bit more in some of the newer agents, and I'm allowing them to have buyer opportunities and buyer showing opportunities and things like that where I can pay them or have them learn. But at the same time, it's helping me, and I'm not running around so crazy, and I'm able to actually spend more time with my family or spend more time on the things that I really need to. So we have an amazing group of agents here in Austin. We've got some newer ones, and they're just hungry and eager to learn from all of us. And so that's where I'm just leveraging those relationships a little bit more. And again, it's helping them learn from a top agent with a lot of experience, but it's also helping me in ways that, are super impactful for me.
Excellent. How about you, Brian? What are you doing differently in 2019?
Oh my gosh, everything. Not everything. There's so much has changed. The structure of my team has changed. My team members have changed. I started my own coaching and training business last year. Our lead generation systems have changed. I've gotten rid of paid leads through Realtor.com, through Zillow, got rid of all that stuff. And, I'm switching to KV Core, and that's been a transition doing that. So it's really been a transition, and just utilizing the tools that EXP has, it's been phenomenal.
So one thing specifically when we're talking about lead generation, because we're also have an audience of 143, one of my favorite numbers, 142, just like that. 143 members, people in the room that are here to learn from Icon agents typically when it comes to production. What's different about your lead generation today than it was a year ago when you say you're no longer within paid leads? Where's your lead generation focused?
So through the years, the majority of my lead generation has been through direct marketing, geographic farming, and that has shifted almost a year ago. I could tell that had shifted in my area probably about last August, and really trying to adapt to that. There's so much stuff online that I felt like I was slow to adapt to it. Now, I went through the recession, the housing recession, the housing market crashing years ago. And one of the things that I did at that time is I just stayed the course. And unfortunately, I stayed the course too long. I didn't adapt to it and what was out there. And with the technology today, I feel like I need to adapt, even faster after learning that lesson. And I feel like I'm slow to the game on that. So there's taking advantage of the tools and systems with like KV Core, for example. There's just so much stuff in there. And when something changes, if you don't know what it is for the first place, when something changes, it's hard to appreciate or understand that and to get into it. So some of that's just building and developing new long-term lead generation sources that are consistent and reliable.
Well, the long-term lead generation sources, most of us would say those are always go back to the basics, right? And at the same time, adapting to any market. Like you had mentioned earlier, part of your market's hot, part of your market is cooling off. So adapting to those two markets, kind of gives you a way to experiment with both. Is that fair to say?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. There's some markets they're hot enough. I mean, I can sell it as a private listing and never goes active on the market, and I've got multiple offers and I'm done. I got other properties in other areas that can't get a showing and nothing's selling in the area. It's how to get in front of the sellers. That is with the technology out there, with the competition out there too, it's very interesting. It's intriguing from a business perspective. Sellers still want some of the basic things. They want to know that, you know, they're working with an agent who knows their area and whatnot. It's just how to get in front of them has shifted. The basic sales process is the same. It's just getting in front of them differently and making sure that they recognize, you know, I can sell their home, I can do it for a great price, and I've done it for so many years, closing over 1,000 deals, versus clicking on a Redfin button that pops up all the time in their social media feeds or whatnot.
Absolutely, absolutely. And when it comes down to, there's so many different ways to lead generate or referral generate, right? And there is this constant shift of the seller awareness or perception of agents or availability, and the constant way of being in front of them, either visual postcards, you know, in their mailbox, billboards, online presence, or signs in yards. All of those things, when it comes down to the long-term, consistent lead generation sources and adapting to them, that's real estate. I would say that all three of us, I mean, all four of us, three of you plus myself, have all adapted, and that's what all allows us to get to achieve icon status, and really unlock a big, huge award and reward through the company. When it comes down to when your business is, so when we talk about that now, Elizabeth, you're very much a referral-based, relationship-based agent, correct?
Correct.
And you're really
100%
embedded,
referral based.
right? And you're completely embedded within your community. Yet within that, say you're in a video game, if you will, or you would place us in your world on a daily basis. Are there ups and downs and highs and lows and challenges to that?
Oh, absolutely. I don't ever know where my business is going to come from, first of all. So for time management and trying to figure out, what I need to really be focusing on, sometimes that's really tough. But what I've learned over the years is just be consistent. And I say this all the time, right? Comparison kills joy. And I love what I'm doing, but I could be completely intimidated standing up here with Tiffany and with Brian and with you, just because I see what you guys are doing differently. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to be doing more. I need to be doing more. And then it's like squirrel. So I just have to remind myself to stay grounded and go back to the basis and just be consistent in what I do, because that's what's worked. Always staying in touch with my clients, and I'm always inviting them to coffee or lunch or just staying in relationship with them. And I know that works for me. It's just really hard to track or identify opportunities that are coming up. Also, I tend to get my feelings hurt if I see somebody used another agent, and I get upset with myself because I'm like, oh shoot, they were on my list. Why didn't I stay in communication with them a little bit more? And it just gives me more of an opportunity to change and be aware of what I need to be doing to make my business successful. But that's a big challenge for me because I can't plan accordingly. And I don't know how I'm going to end at the end of the year, and I just have to be okay with that.
Now, all of what you just said gives people like Brian, the hair on the back of his neck stands up over that. And
I know.
Right? But it does. But and the reason I asked it that way, this is completely free flow, but I do know all of you well enough to know when to ask that question, and I asked it specifically then because it does play havoc on your psyche and on the things that you do on a daily basis or not, and then you wish you did. So, and then how do you systematize, or plan, a referral-based network that could all decide to make moves at the same time, and then at times not, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm okay with that because it gives me a balance. My family is my goal, and I need to be able to adjust to that. I am very driven. If I'm trying to reach a number. If I set a number for myself, like I'm going to figure out how to get. So for me, this actually works better for my personality, and it lets me be a little bit freer, and then I can look back. Now, I will say, since being the EXP, I'm following my numbers a little bit more, not necessarily about my future business, but what I've been doing to date, just because of Icon. I've never really had anything to reach for before. My old brokerage, if you capped, you got a baseball cap that said capper. Like I had like 10 of those, right? I don't need any more baseball caps. But with the Icon program, I have a significant goal that benefits my family.
Yeah,
So now I'm kind of following those numbers a little bit more just to make sure I'm on track to hit Icon.
Yep.
Other than that, that's my only reason.
Well, yeah, the only thing that motivated me in the past is if they changed the hat design. Then
That's
I wanted
hilarious.
then I wanted the
me.
new hat. Then I wanted the new hat. Then I wanted the new hat. If it was the same hat from last year, completely not cool. I'm sorry, but change it up a little bit, improve it. Give us the new brand, whatever it may be.
I'm a little bit jealous because I never got the cap for capping.
Well, Tiffany, I've got plenty I can send you, but
Well,
colors are a little off.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm saving them for a skit at some point in the future. No, I'm kidding. It's interesting because there are times, and I want to bring up another point that Elizabeth just brought up that's really important. Is that consistency is really, really, really important. Meaning, there are times where your efforts may seem like you're not getting anywhere with it. And then there are other times where all of that effort seems effortless and easy flowing. It's kind of like has anyone here, and I'm going to have this conversation with the three of you. Have any of you been on a cruise and gone running on the top of the ship? Has any of you ever run on the top of a cruise ship before? What's funny about
Yes,
running
I have.
or have you ever run at the beach before?
Yes.
Okay, so it's really cool when you start off and go, wow, this run is so awesome. I'm feeling great, feeling energetic. I could run for miles and miles down the beach. You know what the problem is? You have to turn around and run back, and usually you run back in the wind. And so the point is that we love to make sure we're on pace, yet there's times to put on the gas. And when your business is falling behind, my next question here is, where do you go for a boost? Where do you go for a boost when you start tracking and you go, oh, I really need this or I really need that? Where do you go for a boost?
Get back on the phone.
Tell us about that.
And I mean, that looks different depending on what you have, but if you do online leads, you go back and you reach out to those leads that you didn't have time to reach out to before and see what happened. Sometimes that ends up, making you want to cry a little bit because you see all of these people that you paid for to come in your door that bought houses with somebody else, but you can still revive some of that gold. The other thing is, I built my business calling for sale by owners. So get back on the phone with for sale by owners. I don't do that so much anymore, but if I needed a boost, that'd be the first place I'd go.
Awesome. What about you, Brian? Where would you go for a boost?
You're talking about a boost for my business or just?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, when your business is falling behind, you're looking, you're tracking your goals, and all of a sudden, oh, geez, we're behind here or there. What is your protocol, if you will, to give it a boost?
Well, the first thing is I want to make sure that my mindset's in the right place, because if I start putting my foot on the gas again, for boosting up things with my business, and I'm just flooring it, it's going to be a bumpy ride. Okay. So I need to make sure my head's on straight first. That's one of the biggest things. The other stuff is going really back to basics, tracking where the majority of my leads have come from, where the majority of my business has come from, and how can I tailor a message to get in front of those people or have a conversation with those people. And just it's not an advanced course, it's a beginner course, going back to basics and just getting in front of people who I'm familiar with how to do that, and not overthink it and not think trying to think of a new shiny thing to go after. It's no, this is what's worked. I may have to tailor the message differently. I may have to tailor the conversation slightly different to get into it. It's getting back to basics, but making sure my head's on straight first.
Got it. And what about you,
Brian,
Elizabeth?
sorry.
No, go ahead, Tiffany. Keep going.
I was
Go
going to
ahead.
comment
Go
on
deeper.
something you said real quick, Brian. So when you said not going after that new shiny object, I saw a couple of comments in the box or, you know, what do you recommend for new agents to do to lead generate, those kinds of comments. My recommendation is not going after the shiny object, but picking one thing and sticking with it. And that's, I think I totally agree with you, Brian, on that. Like if your business is in a slump or whatever, it's not going out to find the next new shiny thing. It's exactly that, going back to the basics.
Absolutely. What about you, Elizabeth?
Well, in our industry, I think we are the biggest targets for people to just sell us new things and new, get rich quick schemes and things like that. And so I absolutely agree with Brian and Tiffany. What I do though is I will just go through, and we all have cheerleaders. We all have those big referral sources that you can count on no matter what. And I just go through and I just continue to cultivate those relationships, and I sit down with them, and some of my really, really close referrals, I can sit down and say, this is what I'm looking to do. If you know anybody looking to buy or sell, I have some time right now. I would love to visit with them and talk to them. And I come at it from an authentic and genuine approach. I treat people the way I want to be treated. I don't want to be sold to, and those people don't want to be sold to either. And so I just have conversations with them and continue to collaborate, and just reach out to my relationships and cultivate those relationships a little bit more and put a little bit more effort there.
Awesome. I was leaned into my note taking here and turned my mic off because I was breathing heavy and drinking water and grabbing all that in. You guys are awesome. A couple of questions that came up, and one of them came from Dean, right here in my market in Raleigh. What am I doing different, or where do I go for a boost? And what you all have basically said is very, very important. And one of the things that I always have a goal of is, I learned a long time ago in the business that mindset is so important. And one of the things that used to be part of my mindset was, if I am in shape, when I'm in great physical shape, my wallet is not. And so for me, part of my balance is to have a nice big wallet and all big biceps. And I mean that as an analogy, but I also, when it comes down to getting your mindset right, it has to do with taking care of yourself, your body, your health, all of the other things that need to be in balance in order for you to counterbalance or go overload into something else. And I know that all of us do a great job of making sure that we have things in our lives, people in our lives, measurements in our lives that keep us balanced. And we'll talk about balance in a minute, because I think that's really, really important for people to understand that we're not always running perfectly. Both my cars right now drastically need an oil change. One of them, I have 9 more days to renew the registration and get new tires on it so it can pass inspection. There are real life things out there. I'm in the middle of a transition and getting new logos put on my vehicles. So my old logo is off, and the dust that's in the air is collecting on my car, and you can see my last name in dust on one side of my car, and it's driving me crazy. But I'm still running out there being productive. And I'm saying that just so that people in the room can relate to the fact that we're not always driving around in a perfect shiny Mercedes on a daily basis in everything we do in our lives, yet we're constantly working hard to get to this thing called icon status. So I want to remind all of you that when you're an icon, when you're awarded icon, first you qualify for icon, then you go through what's called a vetting process, and the icon vetting committee, which I serve on and I'm proud to, we call candidates and ask them questions and make sure that they qualify as a representative of what EXP is all about, both in production and also their community involvement in activities there, but also making an impact within the EXP world and EXP agents. And all 3 of you represent that at such a high level that I'm just floored that I get to moderate this, and we were all just so thrilled that this was the combination that came up this week on the longest day of the year. Happy summer solstice, everyone! But also want to remind everyone that, you know, when achieving icon status, you were awarded back $16,000 in EXP stock, and it's in three installments. Three installments, meaning $2,000 each for attending EXPCon and EXP shareholders meeting. Basically means you get a free trip, right, guys? And then on top of that, the rest of the award comes in the form of stock back to you for achieving icon status, which is capping and then doing 20 more transactions, contributing another $5,000 in transaction fees back to the company. So it's an amazing gift that this company has. No other company gets you to a truly 100% earnings and ownership within a company like we do here at EXP. With that in mind, what does icon status mean to all of you, and what are you doing either on a daily, weekly, or just on a conscious basis of letting people know that you're an icon agent with EXP Realty?
Well, I was going to say, actually, the icons are all actually getting together in August here in Austin to just kind of create our message, if you will. I don't actively tell people I'm an icon. I want to show people what an icon should be doing, if that makes sense. So I'm meeting with agents. I'm sensitive to the fact that we probably have a lot of newer agents in this room, and they're trying to figure out how to build.
Lost you. We may have lost you for a second there, Elizabeth.
I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I met with an agent this morning that's been licensed 9 weeks, and she just can't get her footing. She's not with us yet. I met her for somebody else, but I just said, well, what are you trying to do? What are your goals? What's your personality like? And you know, some people are super bold and they'll go cold call and they love meeting people and they love knocking on doors, and that's awesome, and definitely embrace that. And she's been getting advice saying, okay, yeah, you should do all these things and network, but nobody's really giving her anything substantial, like, okay, here's your first step, let's do this, let's sit down, let's build a plan. And so as an icon, I think we have a responsibility. I mean, we were all new once, and we still struggle on a daily basis, and I still reach out to colleagues and say, okay, how would you handle this situation? And so we're not by any means perfect. And so I just, you know, I think you just find somebody that mirrors what your business style is or what you want it to look like, and reach out and let us kind of share. And being in this class, I think, is the first thing, just because you get to learn from all types of personalities. When I'm not up on stage, I want to be in this class too, learning from everybody, because there's so much that I can implement into my business to make me a little bit better.
Awesome. What about you, Tiffany?
So similar to Elizabeth, I don't really do anything to promote that I'm an icon, and I do think that is something that probably should change. But I don't do anything currently to promote that. But I'm with Elizabeth also on this, that what it means to me is to be an icon is the opportunity to have people come to me so that I can help them to improve their businesses. I really do love that about this company, is the collaboration. I said that earlier, but the opportunity to sit down and talk with somebody and help them figure things out from their perspective. So I'm with Elizabeth.
Awesome. Brian, and you?
Well, let me be perfectly honest. It's 16 grand back. Okay.
That's right.
Not gonna lie about that one.
Too. Yeah.
I want to save the world, but getting that 16 grand back is sure helpful in trying to save the world. So being an icon to me, it makes sense financially. It just makes sense with the revenue share combined with that too. It's like, how much fees have I had just to pay EXP, and all the services, all the great features, all the benefits, and it cost effective wise, looking at my profit and loss statement, it makes sense. What does it do for everybody else, and what can I add to the EXP community? I'm honestly still learning that. I don't know, and I'm trying to put stuff out there. I teach classes in EXP world. Every Tuesday I do a listing presentation class. I offer free courses for people in EXP, and just being an icon is helpful for me to get in front of those people to help them and help them grow, which also, I'm gonna be honest, here's my selfish part, it reminds me of the things I need to be doing. So when I'm sharing and when I'm teaching, when I'm standing here as an avatar or whatever, it's reminding me what I need to do myself. So being up here helps me, hopefully, as much as it's helping each and every one of you in the audience here today. And I appreciate everybody being here because it just reminds me what I need to be doing. So I'm still learning what it really means and excited to see where it takes us.
It's a great answer.
Somebody said the other day, most of the brokerages, and this might not be the case elsewhere, but in Austin, most of our brokerages, they're very expensive models. And they definitely don't collaborate and share the way our company does. But somebody said the other day, at most of the models, the more you make, the more you take. And the more they take. And I never really thought of that. But if you think of how a lot of the structures are, they do. I mean, a lot of ours here don't cap, or they're 90-10. It's like, so when you're growing your business and the top agents are doing better, you're right. The more we're making, the more the company's taking. And with EXP, that is completely opposite. It's like the better you're doing, the more success you're seeing, the company rewards you more. And it's a complete different mindset, but it's one of those that it gives you that sense of, I do want to give back. I do want to be involved in this company. And there's so many different ways that we can do that. And like Brian, you started a workplace group that is just massive with just the tips and your business practices you share. I mean, get engaged, get plugged in. You're going to see the people you align with, and you'll learn from them, even if you're not face to face. But it's our company gives back, and being an icon, it's just, the icing on the cake.
Sure, absolutely, absolutely. Great answers, guys. I mean, I know that's what we're truly passionate about, and we hope that, and I'm sure there are even icons attend ICONversations so that we can learn from each other as well, not just up here on stage talking. So, and I know that Renee is in the audience, and she's one of our best friends within EXP altogether. And I know that all of what you did for Orlando and bringing us all together a couple of weeks ago was just super amazing. So I guess one of the questions that came up is, as a newer agent without a sphere, what is your advice? And I held off on answering that earlier because all four of us could sit here and give tons of advice on that. It's a different market today than it was when I first started. It's a different market in different parts of the country. By the way, Tiffany, whatever you're doing, the mic's on pretty loud.
Shows it's off for me. Weird.
Or somebody. I thought I saw a little blip over one of the three of you. I just blamed you because your name was on top from my side. Anyway, the critical things in starting off and without a sphere is developing a skill set. Okay, and the opportunities within our market start and stop with two things. In my opinion, okay, this is not everybody, but they start and stop with two things to develop skill set within real estate in any market, whether it was 20 years ago or today. And those are open houses and for sale by owners. So if you're connected or plugged in or friends with other agents within your market that have great listings, then develop a relationship with them so that the trust and confidence is that you would represent them well and represent the seller well and represent yourself well in hosting an open house. And host open houses consistently. Don't judge your results on one or two open houses. plan it out as a body of work over a period of time. When it comes to open houses, you may blame the time of day, you may blame the listing itself, the lack of marketing, all kinds of different factors can come into play for any given 2 to 3 hour period. Yet open houses typically still work best, thanks for asking, for a 3 hour period on a Sunday afternoon. And that's because the people that are serious about buying, first of all, will go to church in the morning to pray they find the house for them that day in a tight market. But in all seriousness, Sunday afternoons that are normally dedicated to family and fun and relaxing, the buyers that are out looking at houses on Sunday afternoons are typically the most serious. That's just my experience over 18 years and done probably 500, 600, 700 open houses. I can't even count. But I would say that tried and true, a 3 hour period is better than a 2 hour period because people can't they might be going to several open houses and get stuck, quote unquote, at one with an over talkative agent, or get lost or forget about yours. So a 3 hour window is typically the best, and typically Sunday afternoons to start. Now, if you're in a seasonal market, or a vacation market, then your open houses may need to be in the middle of the week and may need to be in the middle of the afternoon. I've coached agents in the past in different markets where that worked really, really well for them to not try to do one on a Saturday or Sunday when people are coming in and out of town, but do it in the middle of the week when they're bored with going to the beach too much or fishing too much or being out on the lake too much. Let's go look at houses. So open houses, number one, for sale by owners, is the quickest way to talk to someone legitimately about real estate. And by the way, it's our job. It's our job to know about every house that's on the market, whether it's in MLS or not. It's our job as real estate professionals. So for sale by owners should not only be a skill set, yet it's a requirement if you're going to do your job correctly. Okay, I'm gonna get off that box now. But those are the two best ways to develop skill set, both in phone conversations with for sale by owners. Why? Because they're the seller and they want to sell you the house. They want to sell the house. They're going to provide information. They're going to be happy to talk to you. Just have to position it correctly. And then also the face-to-face people that are actually coming to your open house, whether they have an agent, don't have an agent, just got started, don't qualify, they're a nosy neighbor, it doesn't really matter. When they show up, you're developing skill set. I develop skill set when I host an open house and my family shows up. Just stopping by, Dad, because you forgot your iced green tea in the middle of 3 other visitors in the house. That's a different skill set to receive your family with a nice gesture in the middle of you working hard on a Sunday afternoon. Okay, there's skill set to all of it. So start with when you're brand new without a big sphere, find the fastest way that you can develop skill set in real estate.
So Keith, I want to add to that really quick.
Yes.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. But everybody has a sphere. You've got to think it differently from business, right? Everybody has people that are going to support you, people that you know from across the country. And what I tell everybody to do is, like, there's different funnels, there's different ways to bring in business. So do your open houses and do your door knocking if that's what you want to do, and do all these different things, but also add your sphere in that and build that up, because people are going to do business with those they know, like, and trust. And so you have people, you have dentists you go to, you have people that you're bringing business to. So you just simply let everybody know what you're doing and write them a letter, write them handwritten letters. Just add that as part of your business. Those are the people that know you the most. And so they're going to be your champions when they hear of a real estate need. Just say, look, I need your help. Who do you know looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Whenever you hear them, will you please think of me? And so just add that to your repertoire, if you will, and think of relationships you have. I mean, one relationship I had, as this is a great example. I used to work in a law firm 20 something years ago, and one of the attorneys there is a wills and estate attorney. And when I moved to Austin, she was like, "Oh, hey, let's get back together and catch up." Well, I didn't even think about that, but now after so many years, she still sends me all of her estate planning clients that have a need here. A lot of her clients have family that live out of state. So that was a relationship that I didn't even think about, but I've cultivated that. So think of people like that. Think of attorneys that you know.
Yeah.
You can refer business back and forth, but definitely build that sphere. You don't have to have a big sphere. Just go for the people that are your champions.
Great advice. And
You
it's
can
not,
create.
it sounds easy. It's simple. It's just not easy.
No, but
It's
it's about being
consistency
consistent.
over time. Right,
It's
exactly.
about being consistent and staying in front of people and letting them know. I touch my database once a month. I'm in touch with them once a month, very passively though. I don't want people to see me and think, oh my gosh, there's Tate's mom, run, she's going to talk about real estate. But I want them all to know what I'm doing, and so I send them something in the mail once a month. I am in touch with them with my electronic newsletter on MailChimp for free. These things don't have to cost money. I don't spend a lot of money. I'm just consistent, and that's a key.
And you can build your sphere as well by getting involved in different areas. So it's not, I mean, yes, those people that you go see all the time, your dentist, your doctor, all of those things are a way to are your sphere already, but you can also add to your sphere. I mean, join a club. What do you like to do? Do you like to run? Do you like to play bunco or read a book? I mean, there's something out there that can help you develop more of a sphere.
No, and that's a good point because today authenticity is so craved in our world that we're all afraid to go do something and it not look authentic, and it not be authentic. So don't join a group to build business. Join a group to do something you like to do something that you are or who you are, and it comes naturally to you versus all the things that seem unnatural. There's this awkwardness when you first come into the business, and you learn from lots of different people, or you have this perception that you have to do and be all these things all at once. And the most important thing is that you just learn to be yourself more than if I could do anything, I'd be more myself 15 years ago than I was, for sure.
Well, there's a good resource too. A lot of agents that are newer, just trying to, I mean, sometimes you just need to get some ideas going. Gene Frederick actually used to teach us, he used to be my team leader, and he used to teach this class called 101 Ways to Lead Generate. And
I
he
have
wrote
his
it.
book.
Yeah, he wrote his book, and it's
It's
on
right here on
Amazon,
my
less
desk.
than $10. But I think that's a great book for people just to kind of, especially if you're new in the business. It's less than $10 on Amazon. It's super easy read, but it gives you all these legitimate, current, relevant ideas that you can find. That's kind of your style. I mean, like he said, if there's something you're not interested in, don't do it. Like, don't get involved in a group that you're really truly not authentic and genuine about. For example, you will never see me and I know I'm going to probably make a lot of enemies saying this, but you will never see me in a animal group, like, of any sort. I'm not an animal person, but some people do really, really, really well in the rescue groups and things because that's their heart. And oh, by the way, I'm a real estate agent and they're surrounded by those people. So, but I'm going to be passionate about, my nonprofits. I'm super involved in the community. And people, I've gotten listings because they're like, oh my gosh, you're on the board of this organization. I know of this. And so they're not necessarily going to come to you just because of your real estate knowledge. They're going to come with you because you align with their interests and their likes and their beliefs. So keep that in mind too. It's not always about the real estate information, and just make sure you are surrounded by people that do have that knowledge, so that if you don't have an answer, you can say, I don't have an answer for you, but I'm with an incredible company and I have a great team of people behind me that I'll get that answer for you. But just align yourself with people that have like-minded interests, and you'll do fine. You'll meet a lot of people that way.
So we've covered a lot. What's a question that you'd like to ask of any of us? What's a question or a topic, Elizabeth, Brian, or Tiffany, that you'd like to ask versus me ask? What have I forgotten? What would you like to discuss?
We could talk here for days.
Oh, I know we could.
We could go for days with all the topics that we have. I like what you said, Keith, about developing a skill set, especially for newer agents or agents who are not at the production level that they want. Mastering the actual skill set, if you can master for sale by owners, you can handle any listing. I think that's one of the hardest things to do and one of the best things to master. And when it came to me getting into real estate, it was open houses. That is what I did every single weekend. I would do them Saturdays, I do them Sundays. It's ironic that I'm teaching a power open house class next Wednesday. It's free to all EXP agents. It's actually in that workplace group that I have, the Icon Agent free trainings, Icon Agent Brian Ernst free trainings. Please check that out if you guys are interested in open houses, but these are power open houses. So instead of getting a handful of people through, we're talking about getting 20 to 30 people through. So mastering those basic skill sets is crucial, because I actually had somebody who I recruited into EXP and just recently left EXP. And unfortunately, he never mastered any skill within real estate because he didn't do enough deals. And he was all over the place. Every month he was trying a new thing and it didn't work because he wasn't sticking to one thing and mastering it. And I like those two things: master for sale by owners, master open houses. The rest of your career will be brilliant if you can master those two things.
Okay, and Brian, go ahead and type in anything in the chat bar to tell people where that class will be. That's awesome. So I've got a, a question that I'd like to bring up. What because all of us, this company offers such amazing opportunity, and I want to kind of go a little bit more to a question I would ask if the four of us were sitting down over coffee, beer, wine, whatever. And the question that, or if someone swooped in and asked all four of us, we'd all be like, oh my God, we've never talked about that. Here's the question. What legacy do you want to leave behind? I mean, how will the world be a better place because you were in it? Is real estate your vehicle for leaving a legacy?
You want us to answer that?
Yeah. I mean, I want to talk about leaving a legacy. I want to talk about that. I think that there's a lot of things that can come up from asking that question.
Yeah, for me, with my kids, that's my world, and I'm creating a legacy for them. I'm creating, not only, I want them to see what hard work can do, but you can have fun doing what you're doing, and you can be involved in the community, you can give back, and you can be a productive member of society. I think, especially my kids are so young. I mean, they're growing up in a very different age that it's very, social media and phones, and they're not engaging as much. And my kids look everybody in the eye, they shake their hands, they know how to talk to adults, and I want to create a legacy of my family, and that continues to grow on. This company is allowing me to do things that no other company would have ever let me do. I get to do more things and make more memories with my family. I mean, I'm leaving for Italy on Sunday because of this company for 2 weeks with my family. So I just want to create those memories. I don't want to be at a situation where my kids are like, well, my mom was never there, we never did anything. But I also want them to be able to give back and be greater than themselves and give back greater than themselves.
Now, what you just said was really important. I mean, have you been to Italy before?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so when you get there, when that moment happens that you say, I can't believe I'm actually here in this moment, in this space, what will that do for you?
It's going to be overwhelming, and it's going to be emotional. I'm a very heart on my sleeve kind of a person. And, you know, I've always worked hard. I've been in this business a long time. And, you know, I was at my old brokerage for 10 years. And yeah, I mean, I did okay. I didn't have the opportunity to set up my kids' college funds. I didn't have the opportunity to pay more of my mortgage down. I didn't have an opportunity to travel like I did because I was having to chase the deals. Now, because of stock and rev share and all these other things, and how my business has grown just from the collaboration of this company, it's going to be emotional. Glenn Sanford was such a visionary, and what I love is he's so one of the most humble, genuine people I've ever met. That, you know, here he's in a situation where he doesn't have to continue to give back and help grow, but he saw something bigger for all of us. And so yeah, it's going to be pretty powerful and pretty emotional to be able to go on a trip that I don't have to worry about where I'm going to, you know, what we can or cannot do, or our restrictions because of finances. I'm not going to have those issues that I would have probably had otherwise.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I mean, I could hear it when you said that we're going, and to me that's just so powerful because not only are you creating a legacy, you're part of it. So what else, Tiffany? What else, Brian, on the subject?
So that's definitely a difficult question to kind of, or a difficult answer to put into words, really. But real estate just gives such an opportunity. It's limitless. You can do anything you want with it. You can be a referral agent and limit your business. So, I don't know how I'm saying that, but you can make it whatever you want to make it into. And for me, the legacy that I want to leave is I want to leave a legacy where I've poured into other people and I've created opportunities for other people, and help them to build their businesses. And I also want to leave a legacy with my children. I mean, obviously, I want to leave a legacy where they've had opportunities and that they've seen what hard work can do, and just give back to their lives. So it's limitless. You can do anything that you want to in this business.
There's no one right way to do this business, right, Tiffany?
Absolutely. That's 100% of what I'm trying to say. I feel like I did a very poor job of articulating
No.
that.
What about you, Brian?
When it comes to leaving a legacy, years ago, I thought to myself, I don't want to die and have on my tombstone Brian Ernst. He was a good real estate agent. That thought of that just tears me up. I don't want to be thought of just as a real estate agent. When I'm dead, I'm dead. But I want to have an impact on the real estate community. I've been a part of this real estate community for 16 years, and I've been in production for 16 years. Done coaching and training for 11 years. And a lot of the times I've helped people just for free, just to help people get to where they want to go. And my hope is that I can leave a legacy that can impact future real estate communities and real estate agents, real estate brokers, people who are in this business in a positive way, and help guide them to the financial success that they need so that they can take care of their families. And I don't exactly know how I'm going to do that yet. I'm just taking it one day at a time and offering my time to help other people. And that's a really big question. And I am trying to answer that every day.
Well, I hope that the four of us can continue this part of the discussion. We are at the top of the hour. And first of all, I just want to humbly thank all three of you for your time, for your honesty, your transparency, your willingness to be here to share. All of you that are in the room, make sure you follow all of us on Workplace. Reach out to us about anything that we may have said that struck home. We're here to help you grow your business, achieve icon status, and be part of all of this. And I do, you know, it's amazing. You just reminded me that on the at shareholders, when Tom Hopkins got on stage and he did and he was ready for his presentation, and then the Ready group from Brave New Work was also running another session in another room, I was conflicted between two amazing gifts that were being given to us as a company at that moment. And so even having a quick shout out from Tom Hopkins, I don't know how that happened, but I ended up in his opening dialogue that morning, which was amazing. Elizabeth got to spend a ton of time with him, both on stage and the evening before. We're all so blessed to develop skill sets and continue to improve and grow along the way. So thank you all. I hope you all have a wonderful summer solstice. Make sure you stay outside in or conscious up to the time it goes dark tonight, because it won't happen again for another year. From here, for the rest of the year, these get shorter, and we adjust to it along the way. But I'm telling, this is my favorite day of the year. This and winter solstice. So great job today, guys. We really enjoyed all of you. If we were physically together, I'd say I owe you all a beer right now. Let's go have one. But enjoy your afternoons. Have a great weekend, y'all, and come back for ICONversations next week and weeks to come. Take care.
Thank you, guys. Thank you,
You all. Y'all have a great weekend.
Thanks, Keith. Thanks, Tiffany. Thanks, Elizabeth.